Rob Rickey, Chief Growth Officer at StraightLine. What's a good piece of financial advice that you wish more people knew about?
Well, thanks, Chris. It's a great question. And, I continue to be surprised at how many people I meet with that don't have an estate plan in place. So I think the piece of advice that I would start with is really to kind of make sure people knew um, that estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. And quite honestly, it's not just for planning for your death. You know, um, a lot of times when people are thinking about estate planning, obviously they're thinking about their demise, but it's also about thinking about incapacity or being incapacitated and what that could mean to you in terms of your ability or your family's ability to deal with your financial matters as well as medical care. So, it's amazing to me how often we have clients or new clients come in. Um, it's not so surprising with young clients, but even older clients where they just don't have an estate plan in place and they're really at risk of, God forbid, something happening to them that their spouse or family members aren't in a position to help direct their medical care or direct their financial matters in case of incapacitation or even death. So the thing that we talk to a lot of people about is also everybody says, "Oh, I have a will," and that's great. Having a will is a great thing, but you have to understand that a will really directs probate. And in the ideal situation, you really do want to avoid your assets being distributed through the probate process. And I think a lot of times that's misunderstood by people. They just think that I have a will and that's going to take care of everything. So we really want to guide people to understand that you need to think about having an estate plan in place that includes documents that help, God forbid, you are incapacitated. So things like a healthcare proxy, and power of attorneys. So, you can choose who's making those decisions for you, and they can act for you in a timely manner in case that does happen to you, unfortunately. And then, of course, when we talk about a will, I like a lot of times it's just about giving people a good example. And a perfect example is so many times clients come in and their home is just in their name and their spouse's name. And God forbid something happened to them, it's going to pass through their estate or through their will. And the perfect example of that is just simply having the difference between it going through your will as opposed to having a revocable trust. And just, I'll give you two example of two clients. I had one client where you have a revocable trust in place, and at the death of the second spouse, the children were able to sell that house, within 3 to 6 months because they were able to use the trust as the document to show that they were the beneficiaries and the trustees of the asset. Where on the other hand, if it has to go through the estate, it's got to go through the probate process, and I've seen scenarios where that can take a year. And suddenly, not only are you not able to sell the home as quickly as possible, but you have to manage the home. So understanding the importance of how these documents, including a will, a trust, an irrevocable trust or a revocable trust, can work to help facilitate passing your assets on to your loved ones in a timely manner without taking on additional cost is something that is unfortunately not recognized by a lot of people. And the last thing I will say about that is when people do an estate plan, a lot of times they don't follow through with the directions from their estate planning attorney. So they get these great documents drawn up and they do get the trust, and then they don't follow up with coordinating that with change in registrations of their accounts or their beneficiary designations. And that's a really important thing because the plan, your beneficiary designations really work hand in hand with your estate plan to ensure at the end of the day that that will we talked about at the beginning is really only there as really a last case scenario to transfer your assets to your loved ones. So hopefully your beneficiary designations and your trust, if everything is coordinated correctly, can allow your assets to pass without that will even really being used. So again, just to sum that up, realizing that we all need estate plans. It's not just about the wealthy, and it's not just about you dying. It's about making sure that if you do become incapacitated, your family has the ability to make decisions for you both financially and medically. And then lastly, when you do have all those documents done, make sure you follow through with the instructions that the estate planning attorney gives you to ensure that your account registrations and your beneficiary designations are managed in coordination with those documents.
Rob, excellent insights. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Chris.